Love is in the air, everybody, and so is war. Isn't that what they usually say? All is fair in love and war? Well, it certainly will be come Valentine's Day, technically tomorrow at the time of recording this. Today is February 13th, 2021. It is 12:48 p.m. Central Standard Time, which means it's about 6:48 Central Time. 6:48, not Central Time. 6:48 British time for Orange Cassidy's personal hype man. But we'll get to him when we get to him. Anyways, it's also kind of a last as well. First of love in the air and vengeance on the war on the same day. It's also a bittersweet last as well, because this is going to be the final NXT TakeOver to air on the American version of the WWE Network before it merges with NBC Universal's Peacock service. It's also the first vengeance, technically, that we've had since 2011. That was when Big Show and Mark Henry broke the ring, and then John Cena and Alberto Del Rio, I believe, had their last man standing match with the collapsed ring. Yeah, that was some dangerously crazy good shit, pal. But, yeah, NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. We've got a pretty stacked card, too, for it, thankfully. I'm CoffeeLover239, and speaking of Orange Cassidy's personal hype man, Heaty, here he is. Say hi, Heaty.
Hey guys, Valentine's Day, you know what it is. Just eat, engorge yourself, your body weight in food, and block all your ex's phone numbers. Vengeance Day. Let's get into it.
Yeah, or try to picture where you may have went wrong with an internet relationship. That's another thing for another time, though. Unfortunately, our resident John Moxley stan, Steven, is not joining us for this podcast. He will be back in time for Chamber before any of you ask, though. He's not really gung-ho on NXT right now, but seemingly even more against it, which both of us here don't understand, but whatever. It is what it is. So let's just give him a break, and yeah, let's get into it. In our first match on the card, beautiful women in a triple threat match. Oh yeah, Io Shirai versus Toni Storm versus Mercedes Martinez in a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. So, Io Shirai has fearlessly faced all comers since capturing the NXT Women's title, but she'll have to survive two dangerous rivals to remain champion. As I mentioned before, it's going to be Toni Storm, Mercedes Martinez. Since arriving on the black and gold brand at TakeOver 31, Toni Storm has made her singular goal clear, capturing the championship. And as a former NXT UK Women's Champion, Storm is familiar with what it takes to win the gold. But this time, she's approaching her pursuit differently, displaying a newfound ruthlessness since betraying Ember Moon and aligning with Candice LeRae for War Games. Storm confidently declared last month she would be the next NXT Women's Champion, and Shirai didn't take kindly to that bold proclamation, as you can imagine. Of course, the genies of the sky duked it out with Storm, bidding her adieu with a moonsault. Goodbye and good night, bang. Anyway, Storm hasn't been the only one eyeing Shirai's position atop the mountain. Mercedes Martinez recently returning to NXT after ditching Retribution, and not a minute sooner, might I add, decimating Shirai in the process and announcing her intentions of becoming NXT Women's Champion. Shirai cost both the chance to win the first ever Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, interfering in their first round match to gain retribution for Martinez's attack. Oh, you had to mention retribution in that last line? Really? What bonehead put that in there? Oh, that's who. No, I won't say his name because I don't need people going after him on Twitter. And now, where was I? Oh yeah, sorry, it's just, Okay, anyway, Storm and Mercedes' temporary alliance disintegrated a week later, with both nearly coming to blows in a brouhaha with Shirai. So, what can I say about Io Shirai's reign that probably hasn't already been said? She's been reigning pretty damn strong too, might I add. Right now, she's actually held the belt since June 7th, 2020. I believe that was TakeOver in Your House. And she's basically held the belt for a grand total of 250 days. That puts her in the top 5 NXT Women's Champions. That's kind of insane when you think about it there. Honestly, I'm pretty happy to see Toni Storm in the main NXT brand because she's awesome from what I saw of her in NXT UK. And especially happy to see Mercedes Martinez in it as well after seemingly getting pulled out for no reason into Retribution, only to realize, hey, this is going to be a dud, and she was abso-fucking-lutely right. But that's not really here or now. The point is, we have 3 beautiful women all going to beat the hell out of each other in what's probably going to be one hell of a match. Healy, who do you think's going to win?
Well, I feel like with NXT, they're trying to set this precedent that they want their titles to have meaning. They want the titles to have prestige, and you can only do that by building up long, lengthy title reigns with established competitors time after time after time. Io Shirai come up to, I think, around 290 days, maybe, give or take.
I said 250 if I...
250, okay.
Yeah, that's what she has at the time of this recording.
That is relatively long, and to be in the top 5, you can tell within the short time frame of having the NXT Women's title in the WWE brand that they want these long reigns. So it's part of the course that Io Shirai is doing so well. You have Mercedes Martinez, veteran of the sport. Good to see her getting her spotlight. Also Toni Storm. Quick note here. It's a bit of an NXT UK invasion because we have Toni Storm in this match. We have Grizzled Young Vets in the Dusty Cup finals, the men's version. And we also have Pete Dunne with NXT title.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all that coming up. So, who I think is going to win? I don't feel it's Io's time. I feel like if Io is to lose this title, it should be via pinfall in a 1v1 match. The last time the title changed hands, it was the triple threat. I don't want to see that happen again.
Yeah.
Because Charlotte wasn't even pinned to lose the title.
Yeah,
I feel like
that pissed me off. She loves to no-sell, and she doesn't want to put people over.
It would have done wonders for Io to pin Charlotte, so I feel like Io needs to give that rub to someone else. Be the better woman than Charlotte in this case. So, yeah, I don't think it's the time for Io. I'd love to see Toni Storm or Mercedes Martinez with the gold sometime in the future, but it's just not their time in my opinion, so I'm going to go with Io Shirai to retain.
I'll have to agree with you there, quite frankly, given how I noticed that with Io's reign, basically, that she's also the longest reigning Japanese NXT Women's Champion. Sadly, Kairi Sane's reign only lasted 71 days, which makes me sad, but unfortunately, life itself can often throw you unexpected curveballs. Yeah, I have to agree with you. I don't really think... I think it should be a more grander deal, basically. And with these side takeovers that have been happening away from main roster pay-per-views, it's possible we may need a bigger takeover event for Shirai to lose the belt with. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go agree with you and go with Io Shirai as well to retain. And our next match we're doing here is the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Finals. We have Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. So back in January of 2021, the 6th annual Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic was announced. Hold on. Excuse me. And for the first time, a women's version was also announced. The finals of both the men's and the women's tournaments were scheduled for Vengeance Day. We'll start with the women here first. So this is the first time they've ever done a women's bout here. Oh, and the winners also receive a future WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. And so for the women's, basically, the bracket was shorter than the men's. There was no first round. It was just the quarterfinals, semi, and then, of course, the finals we're getting tomorrow. Let's see. For basically our finals, for Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, they defeated Marina Shafir and Zoe Stark. Where the hell is Jessamine Duke? In the quarterfinals, and then in the semifinals, they beat The Way, Candice LeRae, and Indy Hartwell to earn their spot in the finals. Now, as for Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, they defeated Aaliyah and Jessie Camilla in the quarterfinals, and in the semifinals, they beat Kacy Catanzaro and Kaden Carter, and here we are. Now, looking at these teams, the more legitimate-ish team of the two would have to be Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. Even though the partnership seemed out of left field at first, over time they've eventually settled into one in their own and have become quite the unit here. Excuse me again. I can't say the same for Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. They've been doing fine, but honestly, the Dusty Rhodes Classics in general have always seemed to have had makeshift teams. Hell, I'm pretty sure the first ever Tag Team Classics, the winners were a makeshift team, Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. And don't get me wrong, though, they have actually done a better job at, say, makeshift teams than the main roster. But if you really want to build up the women's tag team division, and believe me, they need to do that badly, you really want the better unit of the team here, too. And like I said, yeah, the winners will get a future women's tag team championship match. It does make me kind of wonder, going back to Charlotte, though, because before Nia and Shayna got the belts back, it was Charlotte and Asuka, and you have to wonder if friggin' partially dropped it because Charlotte didn't put anyone over in NXT, given we all know that little short reign of terror she had, but that's another story for another time. Anyways, this match should still be good itself. Healy, who do you think's gonna win?
Well, it does make sense why this will be the first Dusty Cup for the women's side. They really started to bolster the roster, but yeah, not many established tag teams compared to the men's side. I mean, you had Gigi Dolan and Cora Jade, and I'm sure one of them was Priscilla Kelly, but she was only in NXT for like a cup of coffee, maybe like a week or two beforehand.
I don't think she was, actually. I don't see her listed here in this back bracket, but continue.
Yeah, so it's definitely a few makeshift teams, especially in the case of one of the finalists, Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. When it comes to the women's tag team championships, I don't think WWE has much credence or cares that much as to the face heel dynamic. I feel like it just, if they're good, they will be number one contenders. I feel like they don't really care that much. They can just alter it on the fly.
I don't know, man. I mean, with the way the finals are set here, it's very clear that Kai and Gonzalez are the heels, while Moon and Blackheart are the faces. I kind of call this basically.
I'm not talking about the NXT dynamic. Like, obviously they've got it figured out. I'm talking about the winners. No, the winners going up to challenge for the tag titles.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I got you now.
This lends to who I think's going to win, because I don't think Vince would care if it's heel versus heels. I think Vince just wants like challenges for that women's tag team championships to justify having them still exist, because they are scrambling to come up with some mismatches and shapeshifts of random people in a tag team. So, I mean, we had Naomi and Atlanta, for God's sake,
getting in there. So, my God.
So I feel like an established tag team really posing a real threat to Jackson Baszler is a good option, and something that they really need to be looking at. Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, love them. Think that both of them can be NXT Women's Champions. Ember Moon again in her case, but I don't think it's. I think it is Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez's time, because they've been so great the last few months. They really took up a level. Raquel, especially, Dakota Kai has always been a level ahead of a lot of people, but Raquel's really got her act together. She wasn't terrible, but she wasn't hidden the heights, say, like a Dakota Kai or an Ember Moon or an Io Shirai, but she's really gotten up there. The War-Games match helped her tremendously. And the last women's standing match that Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley had, that was just brilliant. That was a star-making performance.
Pretty much,
what she did in that match. Kudos to Ripley for helping him out with that. So I feel like this is the next, logical step in Raquel Gonzalez's like astronomical trajectory. So yeah, I'm going to go with Gonzalez and Kai to get a winner. I'm going to have to agree with you on that one, man. These two are more of a unit, like I said, the more dominating one. I'm pretty sure I may have even had them penciled in to win the whole damn shebang from day one, quite frankly, because there's really only one team that really could rise to the occasion, and it is Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, so I will go with them as well to win. And our next match is now the Men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Finals. MSK, Nash Carter and Wes Lee versus grizzled young veterans James Drake and Zach Gibson. And here, like the women, the winners will also receive a future NXT Tag Team Championship match. And for the men's, this is the 6th annual one, and there was a first round, unlike the women's, because there's more teams. And some other makeshift stuff, but I think we have a pretty good set here, actually, for the final. Unlike the women's, it's both teams in our finals are units as hell, beyond belief, and it's going to be interesting. So MSK and their path to get to the finals, they beat Jake Atlas and Isaiah Swerve Scott in the first round.
in the quarterfinals, they beat Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. We haven't seen them do that on Wrestle Talk in a while. In the semifinals, they beat Legado del Fantasma, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza to earn their spot. Meanwhile, the grizzled young veterans of NXT UK fame, and I believe the inaugural UK Tag Team Champions, let's see how they made it to the finals. In the first round, they beat Ever Rice, Chase Parker, and Matt Murtaugh. In the quarterfinals, they beat Kushida and Leon Ruff. And in the semifinals, they beat Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher to earn their spot. And now, here they are, quite frankly. Now, grizzled young veterans have been doing their thing more in NXT UK, but eventually they found their act over here, much like Toni Storm. And MSK themselves were more indie, running stuff, I believe, in Impact as well, few years prior, before signing with WWE. And unlike before, it was kind of a mixed bag here to decide, okay, who should we go with, basically, here, because unlike the women's, this men's field was kind of a little bit more unpredictable. Between MSK, between some of the other grizzled young veterans, between Imperium, even though they freaking... don't even get me started with Loser House Party being in between some of the other teams as well. You had a more wider field, but here we are now, basically. Heathie, who do you think's gonna win? Heathie.
I mean, first of all, I'm good to see MSK. It's good to see MSK in NXT. It's been a long time coming. It's a shame that they didn't get all of the trio, but it's good to see two of them. I'm a bit shocked. A bit shocked because I know how good they are, but I'm still a bit shocked that they managed to get to the finals. You can tell how highly Triple H rates these guys. I would have expected, before the bracket came out, I would have expected an Undisputed Era or Ciampa and Thatcher, or I don't know, a Maverick and Dane. But looking at the bracket now and how they got through, I mean, I guess they were my bracket buster. I thought it was going to be Legado del Fantasma to get to the finals, but you know,
that would have been nice. I kind of thought that too, or well, not quite when you put them against MSK, but yeah,
they're really going all in with these guys. On the other hand, you got grizzled young veterans who were the runners-up last year to the Broserweights, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. So, like, do they make the grizzled young vets the bridesmaid again and not the bride, or do they just grind to a screeching halt all this red hot momentum they've already built up to the really new MSK already? If they were out in the semis, I would have understood it, but now they're in the finals. It's like do or die. So they really booked themselves into a bit of a corner here. So it's a bit of a coin toss. I've got to go with guys that I've been rooting for since they were announced to be in the tournament. I'm going to go with grizzled young vets to win this.
This is kind of a tough one for me here, to be honest. I'm not really sure. You could go either way with either team, basically, here. Establish MSK right off the gate, basically, because, yeah, we need more tag teams in NXT. Excuse me. And I do think they're a good choice. On the other hand, the grizzled young veterans as well, they could also help bolster the division as well. Damn, this is actually a tough one. I don't know who to pick, quite frankly. You can't go wrong with either team. I don't know. Grizzled young veterans might need it less, but it's really a coin toss, so I'll just put down MSK for now, but you really can't go wrong with either team, and this should definitely be a great match. And our next match is Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne for the NXT Championship. On the February 3rd episode of NXT, Pete Dunne demanded NXT champion Finn Balor give him a title match. Pete, you know that's not exactly... whatever. Balor then came to the ring and told Dunne he would get his match at Vengeance Day, but just like that, it happened anyways. Men's Royal Rumble winner Edge then came to the ring. He spoke about seeing the drive, passion and focus on wrestling in NXT helped motivate to make his comeback. He said he never held the NXT Championship and told Balor and Dunne that he would be watching their match at Vengeance Day, and regardless of who won, it may help him decide which World Championship he would challenge for at WrestleMania 37. And let me make this clear. Out of all the 3 possibilities, I'm pretty sure this one would be at the bottom of this stack. Balor Edge, it would be nice, but nah, I don't see it. Least likely to happen out of all of them. Anyways, back to this match, though. Oh my god, what can you say about these two that haven't already been said before? Both are very capable. Balor's having his own renaissance in NXT after a misfire run on the main roster, and happy to throw Pete Dunne into the mix. Now, it looks like from regular strong style to British strong style. Oh boy, Irish, British, all is whoo. And the more I look at this, it's like, if Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly slayed the hell out of each other the last couple times, I have a feeling this one's going to be more brutal. Not to mention, last I heard, the lower lip of Finn Balor was apparently still numb from all that fucking madness of the, well, let's be honest, the straight up beating that Balor and O'Reilly gave each other. So this is going to be even more crazier. You throw in all of Pete Dunne stuff, like there's finger breaking as well, just, oh, the stuff that makes you want to just scream like Doug Walker, even though you shouldn't, but I digress. This should be an excellent friggin' match. This might be the one to dominate out of all of them, and there's nothing more I can add, so Heathy, who do you think's gonna win?
I can't help but think about Balor's still healing jaw, that he can't feel anything, the numbness from the top of his bottom lip to his chin. Back in how he, you see him when he's doing his promos, how he would maybe slobber or maybe he was clutching at his jaw. Like, right. He's still recovering just a slight bit, and that always plants a seed in my brain of, oh, will they drop the title to fully recover? But I'm not too sure about this one. I mean, it's going to be match of the night, no doubt about it. It's going to be good. To be honest, because the whole card's going to be good. So who I think's going to win? You know what? I can't go against Finn Balor, who's been such a dominant champion, and I think it's not been ham-fisted, this feud, but I feel like there should have been a bit more build up somewhere along the way. It's just been a bit of war games here and there. It's been a bit Undisputed Era getting involved as well. I'd love another few months and Dunne take the NXT title. You earned it. But for now, I think I'm going to go with Balor to retain.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. They kept Balor's reign pretty damn good. And if we look at his current reign here, actually, and how it's doing, right now he's held the belt for 155 days currently, and this is pretty much his second reign, if you will. Yeah, pretty much he's technically at the highest of the food chain on NXT Champs, if you count his 2 reigns, much like a Shayna 2-time, basically, in the women's side of things. But looking at this, yeah, I have to agree with you, man. Honestly, it seems like Karrion Kross is just begging to get that title back after finally healing up after the slaying that him and Keith Lee went through, basically having to vanquish the belt 4 days later, though, unfortunately, because, again, and the funny thing is, yeah, it happened to Balor before, but that was the Universal Championship, unlike the NXT Championship. But Kross is back, and sooner or later, time's running out for Balor. But for this night, he's probably more than likely going to retain. But sooner or later, Kross is going to catch up.
Guys, hello.
That motherfucker. Apologies, folks. It seems our resident John Moxley's fan decided to give us some trouble, basically. I do apologize for that in advance, but yeah. me and Healy are on the same page for that last match, and we may be for this last one here. I don't know. It's Johnny Gargano versus Kushida for the North American Championship. Now, pardon me 1 second here. I don't have the thing pulled up. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I have to read some of this off my phone because I've been having some slight tab loading issues of sorts. Anyway, so Johnny Gargano is sick of hearing about Kushida, but at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, he won't be able to escape him. After Gargano first heard about the NXT North American title match, the two competitors commenced a wild brawl outside Mr. Regal's office. Kushida is ready for his time to shine as a champion on the black and gold brand and has taken on the way in his pursuit of the gold. Gargano in Austin Theory outlasted Kushida and Leon Ruff in the Dusty Cup quarterfinals, but the challenger did pin the champion in a mixed match challenger match earlier this year. Don't remind me. I hate that, but whatever. Will Kushida usher in a new curse for Johnny Wrestling? Or will Vengeance define the way in NXT North American title showdown? Tough to say, really, but honestly, Johnny Gargano has always had the damn rug pulled out from under him when it comes to certain reigns, sadly. It's just... What more can you really say? Currently, his reign is at 84 days, combined days, but if you go by recognized by WWE, it's more like 105, given all the technicalities and crap that's gone on this year. On the other, and last year, I guess, technically, but whatever. On the other hand, Kushida himself has never held a single title in NXT. And the dude right now, if we actually go and take a look, the dude has been signed with the company since... If I could just scroll, he's been signed since 2019, basically. A few days before WrestleMania 35 in 2019. That's when he was basically brought in. Unfortunately, I feel like some of the possibly pandemic crap also put him in trouble as well, unfortunately, and didn't help his case. Not to mention some of the crap they were pulling in the North American title division. But sadly, kind of a tough one here, I suppose. I'm sure the match will be great. I mean, it's Gargano and Kushida we're talking about, but... Healy, who do you think's gonna win?
Yeah, Kushida's been signed for 2 years, not really done anything of note. Good to see him get some sort of like vicious streak in his feuds with Austin Theory, Velveteen Dream. Now moving on to Gargano. Finally, seems like there's some meat on the bones of whatever feuds he's going into next. Does he win it now? I mean, Gargano will really. I think this has to be the long reign. If Gargano is going to have a long reign with a championship title, it's got to be this one. Everything else has been either really short or he's lost in the first defense, which is not good. So, yeah, I think I don't say it's the easiest one to predict, but it pretty much is for me. I feel like I don't know. Kushida, he's got to do something else after this. I'm worried for Kushida, but I feel like Gargano's retaining. I hope Kushida can find his feet and do something else that is noteworthy because he's too good to be on the sidelines. But yeah, I'm going with Gargano.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on both of those things. The fact that Kushida has not done much in his 2 years with NXT is sad as hell, quite frankly. And if he ever does get called up to the main roster, then better just to stick a fork in him, unfortunately, because yeah. And yeah, Gargano, especially with this new heel character that he's been doing, and then forming the way, taking Austin Theory under his wing, and Indy Hartwell as well. It's kind of given him a little bit of a newer look and newer life. I suppose as the heel, he always seems to get longer reigns, like as the heel, seemingly, when you look at it, or heel-ish at times. But I'm going to agree with you and go with Johnny Gargano to retain on this one. And that's it, folks. Like I said, all's fair in love and war, so love and all-out action. And yeah, what more can I say, basically? This should stack up to be a good pay-per-view as well. And yeah, what more can I say? I want to thank Healy, as always, for being here with me. Say bye, Healy.
I had a girlfriend once. She took me up to a cliff. She held me over the edge. She said, "Dan, you feel scared right now?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Good, because that's what I felt with us. That's what I feel with you right now." And then we made love. She, we had such intense love. I didn't know where my flesh ended and her flesh began. It was amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome, but that's not exactly what I've had in mind from what you've been through. But I digress. And, Steven, like I said, will be back, basically. And, on the docket, we currently have Elimination Chamber next, which will be, 1 week from Sunday, actually. So we'll probably be back on the 26th. And then on top of that, if I remember correctly, there's a certain AEW pay-per-view coming in to the fray as well. Yeah, Revolution. So we'll be back on the 19th or sooner or later. I apologize that this came out a day later than anticipated. But on the 19th, we should be back for Elimination Chamber, which will be happening on the 21st. And then we should be back on the 5th for Revolution, if all the stars line up properly and everything works as it should. So keep your eyes all peeled for that, and thanks for watching. Bye for now, everybody.